Denver School Board buried a principal in accusations of racism. Now, a DPS investigation says there is not evidence to support that. We meet the first responders in a mountain community who have a heavy responsibility diffusing mental health crises without getting anyone killed. The governor's nothing to see here attitude about problems with universal pre-K is shared by Democratic legislators who could be the ones to try and fix it.
Yes, there have been bumps along the way, as I think there would be with any rollout.
And they just love to compete. Long after a lot of us would have found something more relaxing, we have one question. Why? That's tonight on Next. A Denver Public Schools investigation has not found racial discrimination at McAuliffe International School. For weeks, school board members have publicly accused the former principal of racism, charges that were brought up after Kurt Dennis was terminated by the district when he spoke out about security concerns. Dennis came to 9 News about DPS employees being forced to do weapons pat-downs without proper training and students charged with crimes like attempted murder being put back in class. When the board faced public pressure over Dennis's firing, they turned to new allegations that McAuliffe had used a seclusion room for out-of-control students in a way that did not meet DPS standards. The investigation did find evidence that that room violated DPS policy, but the investigation did not back up board members' public claims that students were treated differently at McAuliffe based on their race. Tonight, Board Vice President Ayante Anderson doubled down on his assertion of racism at McAuliffe, saying that the seclusion room was, quote, problematic and echoes a dark past our country pledged to never revisit. Anderson's focus on Dennis extends to the fired whistleblower's new employer. Anderson is now calling for another investigation of former Principal Dennis by the NAACP, because Anderson says Dennis has now been hired by another school district. Just 1 week after Denver lifted a state of emergency for the city's migrant sheltering effort, we're once again seeing an uptick in arrivals.
While we decided not to extend the emergency, it does not mean there's any less focus or urgency.
It was a leveling off in new arrivals, plus the promise of more federal funding that prompted the mayor and city council to let that state of emergency lapse. Today, Mayor Mike Johnston said arrivals and the number of migrants staying in nonprofit shelters are both on the rise. This time last month, about 500 migrants were in local shelters. As of today, the number's 850. The city's still searching for a long-term partner for this effort after scrapping a Hancock administration idea to bring in the international security contractor Garda-World. Johnson says that local organizations should be leading on this. The city has a new $8.6 million federal grant that can reimburse some of the $23 million already spent helping people who have come here from the southern border. All right, so quick review of Colorado's universal preschool problems this fall. Thousands of families who lost full-day pre-K at the last moment. Providers who ended up with empty seats and a funding gap. 2 kids pulled out of class after a week because their school district made a mistake. A number of school districts suing, worried the plan shortchanges students with disabilities. But hey, this is year 1. Surely state legislators are already working to fix it for year 2, right? Politics guy Marshall Zellinger was told, no.
Universal Preschool has enrolled 37,000 students this year. That's about 1/3 more than last year when parents went directly to schools or districts instead of applying through a state portal.
I think that we should be celebrating the successes that we are seeing so far.
Democratic State Representative Emily Sirota sponsored the bill that created the new Universal Preschool program and the new Department of Early Childhood, which is responsible for the new Universal Preschool program.
Yes, there have been bumps along the way, as I think there would be with any rollout of a statewide program like this that is being delivered locally by so many different providers.
Bumps experienced by parents like Alan.
Why were the goalposts moved from where they were when we made the application?
His family was one of 9,000 that thought they were getting full-day preschool covered by the state until the state changed the rules because it did not have enough money. Bumps also experienced by Taylor.
I was hoping to just send her back to the classroom she already knew.
Taylor just had her daughter pulled from a full-day preschool classroom because she was placed in it by mistake.
Certainly that shouldn't happen, and I do feel for all of the families and the providers and the districts who have encountered these problems in this rollout.
Regardless of the first-year hiccups we've reported on, Sirota sees it as a first-year program uncovering glitches in real time.
If it turns out that yes, we need to change something in statute, we are here and ready to do that. Nothing's been presented to me yet that would suggest a legislative change. I don't think that we're at any point where we say it's broken before it's even gotten off the ground, because it actually is working quite well for many people.
In a statement from that new Department of Early Childhood, a spokesman told me that year 2 will include feedback from people in year 1 to make changes next year. That can be done administratively, not legislatively, but the Universal Preschool Portal is not going away. Power is not going back to the districts. It's going to remain that one-stop shop for all parents statewide to be equal and equitable, is what I'm told, Kyle.
So, again, correct me if I'm wrong here. So the legislature, even if the governor says, don't worry about it, it's all good, the legislature could step in and be like, actually, there's some problems and we're going to try to fix this. When we talk about administrative fixes, we're talking about people who work under the direction of the governor, the guy who says it's all cool, right?
Right. No one who's elected themselves, but people who are either appointed to the position, like the director of the early childhood department, or people who are hands-on with the portal and can make small tweaks to the algorithm or the streamlining of it. Yeah, these are minor things that make things like get rid of a line, but not like change the law that says you must do something this way. It's you already know the law, so make it a little bit easier here and a little bit easier there.
All right, Marshall Dellinger, thank you. The King super shooting suspect is not going to get another mental competency exam. Judge today moved that suspect closer to going on trial for killing 10 people. Defense attorneys were asking for another competency evaluation. Suspect's been in custody since March 2021. Psychologists found the suspect was incompetent. Doctors said he couldn't understand the charges. But this month, the Colorado Department of Human Services said the suspect does not have a mental or developmental disability that keeps him from understanding the case. Judge is going to hold a hearing on that evaluation before deciding whether the suspect can go to trial. Clear Creek County is ready to try a new approach to mental health calls. We saw how Clear Creek County's old approach worked. It was caught on videotape. Anger, shouting, bluster, bravado, shots fired, and the death of a young man named Christian Glass. Clear Creek County says they are now complying with a settlement with the Glass family that requires different responders. Our Mark Salinger spoke to that team.
The calls come in every day. They all start the same way.
Well, we always say hi and introduce ourselves.
Clark Church is a paramedic.
And we just go up and start talking to the person that needs help.
Lindsay Busen is a counselor. Together they make up the new Clear Creek Health Assistance Team. No badges, no guns, no handcuffs.
I mean, I think we're excited, right, to finally have a tool that fits the situations that need them. We've seen historically that we haven't had the best tools in every situation, right?
Starting a call for help with hello.
Step out of the car now.
Is different than how things escalated the night a deputy killed Christian Glass in Silver Plume last year.
We're trying to find better tools for each call.
Officers talked to Glass for 70 minutes while he was in the middle of a mental emergency before a deputy shot and killed him.
We can sit someone for a long time and figure out, what do you need? What do you want that you think will make the situation better?
We're on scene usually for, it can be quite a few hours even. We have the time to spend with people. And so what we're really trying to do is connect with people.
Officers won't respond to calls like Glass's anymore in Clear Creek County. Clark and Lindsay will also use a far different approach.
And a lot of times people, when they're in crisis situations, they just want to feel heard. And a lot of times they're not getting that for whatever reason.
Right. We can ask the person that is in need, what do they think could help, and see if that's something that we can assist with.
Clear Creek County is big, and there's often a lot of spaces in between calls and homes. This team of 2 people right now, just a couple people right now, will have to respond to an area that's more than 350 square miles. That means it could take more than an hour to get to a call in far parts of the county. In those cases, a police officer may have to respond if the person who's in need of help can't wait for the mental health team to get there. So far, this new team, Kyle, has responded to 14 calls in 2 weeks.
This is not a new idea. It's not a revolutionary idea. There's some talk of it in Clear Creek County before Christian Glass's killing.
Yeah, they tried to get this up and running. It just didn't get off the launching board. And then all of a sudden now there's a settlement with the family. They say that it didn't happen because of this settlement that they got this all going, but obviously they needed to comply before January 1st of 2025. They've done that now, and that's kind of the impetus for all this.
Yeah, I mean, what they say or what they want is almost immaterial once the settlement comes down.
Exactly.
Says, you gotta do
it.
Mark, thank you.
Colorado Secretary of State's office caused considerable confusion today with a text about voter registration. Several of you, including Lee, asked us the same question. Is this a scam?
If you got that text or a similar email to check your voter registration today, the Colorado Secretary of State's office says it is legit. They sent out a ballot tracks notification to registered voters this morning, directs people to make sure their information is updated for the November election. County clerks are going to start mailing ballots late last month. So if your registration is up to date, correct address and everything, you don't have to do a thing. If you need to update your registration, you can do it on the Secretary of State's website.
Extremists will stop at nothing to undermine our work to thrive and to become one.
America's latest white supremacist mass shooting is a reminder that our nation and Colorado have a long way to go. And it is rare for players to get decades on the diamond. Bodies usually won't cooperate. But these are the Colorado Peaches. They're built a little different. Today, faith leaders and law enforcement gathered in Denver to condemn the weekend racist mass shooting down in Florida and to reflect on their shared hopes for societal change here in Denver. Florida police say that a white gunman shot and killed 3 black people at a Dollar General in Jacksonville on Saturday. FBI is investigating the attack as a hate crime. Law enforcement said he had racist manifestos. Even though this attack took place clear across the country, the faith leaders with the Greater Metro Denver Ministerial Alliance said it points to, in their view, a failure in gun policy nationwide. They were joined today by Aurora Police Chief Art Acevedo, who asked for what he called common sense gun reform. This racist shooting comes as the nation remembers a landmark moment in the civil rights movement. Yesterday was the 60th anniversary of Martin Luther King's March on Washington. Denver's faith leaders called that anniversary a reminder of progress yet to be made.
Extremists will stop at nothing to undermine our work to thrive and to become one. This tragedy in Jacksonville is yet another reminder of why we march, why we pray, why we work.
Yesterday also marked the date of the kidnapping and killing of Emmett Till, the black teenager who was lynched after being accused of whistling at a white woman. Last month, President Biden designated a national monument to honor Till and his mother. It'll have multiple sites in Illinois and Mississippi. A recommended read for you tonight. I just learned this past weekend that Denver was actually the site of the country's first monument to Emmett Till. It's the subject of a fascinating report in Westward. The statue you see here was called King and Companion. It was a tribute simultaneously to Martin Luther King Jr. and Emmett Till. And Westward's editor, Patty Calhoun, has tracked the statue's history over the years. It was installed in City Park in the late 70s. Critics immediately complained that it did not look like Dr. King and that it was weird because his head was too big. It was eventually replaced by another statue of King in 2003. That's the statue that is in City Park now. That new statue does not include Emmett Till. The original is still out there, though. It's in Pueblo. If you want to read more about that statue's journey across our state, it's a really interesting backstory from Westward. We have it linked on 9news.com. Danielle Grant.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Summer's last stand. Is that what we're having? Summer's last stand?
I don't know. September can be sneaky.
Yeah.
I mean, we can get some 90-degree days in September, but whew, yes, the heat is going to be on over the course of the next couple of days. So I hope you were able to soak in today. Blue skies, plenty of sunshine, highs in the lower 80s. I mean, it was a Chamber of Commerce kind of afternoon and tough to find any clouds out there. Officially 83 out at DIA, a little warmer off to the eastern plains, but not bad for late September, or I should say late August. 70s and 80s up in the high country, and here we are looking at the radar. Not a ton going on in Colorado. All eyes really have been across parts of Florida where they're getting ready for Hurricane Idalia to make landfall early tomorrow morning. As we zoom in, you can already see the outer bands of this massive an almost major hurricane already beginning to push onshore. We're looking at anywhere between about 4 to 8 inches of water coming through, as well as extremely high storm surge too. High pressure is around, and that's going to be the name of the game for Colorado anyway over the course of the next about 24 to 48 hours. That means our temperatures are going to be warming up by about 10 degrees tomorrow. Look at this. Back to the 90s we go. Yes, the summer heat still on. 90s stretch across the eastern plains, 70s, 80s up in the mountains, and close to 100 degrees out there in Grand Junction tomorrow afternoon. We get even warmer on Thursday, 95. We'll hang tight with the 90s through the holiday weekend, at least through Sunday anyway. Isolated storms possible on Friday and then again on Sunday. They will be few and far between. I'm not anticipating a lot. A little cold front sneaks in, and that's going to drop off our temperatures into the mid-80s on Monday, officially on Labor Day. But so far, looks pretty good.
It's such an honor to represent all the women on whose shoulders I'm standing, really.
92 years young, softball star is headed into a Hall of Fame. It's a celebration for her whole team of youngsters, really. We'll meet them next. The Colorado Peaches love to compete. Even in their 80s and 90s, players just want to get out on the softball field and play. And now they have a lasting honor to go with that impressive stamina.
We are attending the Peach Bowl.
Yes.
Yeah, they called it the Peach Bowl. I don't know if you'd call it a tournament or just a nice celebration. What are the Colorado Peaches?
What are they? A women's senior softball team.
They're an institution.
We're a mixture of age and ability. It began in 1992 with Chloe.
You know everybody on that picture? Nancy joined the Peaches in 1993, and she pitched and pitched and pitched until the two of us retired.
The Peaches would have died if it hadn't been for Maggie.
And there's Maggie. We have to give credit to Maggie for that. For carrying on the Peaches after we retired.
She's on.
There's a hit and a half.
They don't induct teams into the Hall of Fame. So I am honored to represent the Colorado Peaches.
The Huntsman World Senior Games.
The Huntsman's Hall of Fame. And it's well deserved.
To represent all the women on whose shoulders I'm standing, really. Yeah, on the back of our shirts it says, Peach, what does it say on the back of our shirts? Peaches forever. Oh, do we mean it?
It's just so much fun.
Way to go! Way to go! Yes, it's just fun.
Yay!
Way to go.
That is pure joy, isn't it? That's pure joy. Hey, look, Aaron's back from vacation. I would ask you if you're happy to be here, but we don't allow lying on this program, so no need to answer. We will have feedback next. The most Colorado thing we saw today may be a mistake, or maybe it's a hidden tribute to a particular type of transplant in our state. Mike and Beth ordered a set of 50 Colorado stickers from Amazon, and they found this sneaky tribute to Missouri in their pack. Isn't that wild? So they're like, this thing's got an identity crisis. I don't know. I've seen occasional Colorado transplant merch that'll shout out where people are originally from. I'm thinking if Mike and Beth put this up on eBay, some transplant from Missouri would probably snatch it right up. Wayne writes in about my use of English, which is often fraught. He says, need to stop saying uptick, not even a word. Wayne, according to Merriam-Webster, the word people, they define an uptick as an increase, a rise, or an upward trend, which I'm pretty sure is the way that I used it. But again, I've been known to butcher a lot. Carol says, thanks for the information on the text from the Secretary of State's office. Thought it might be a scam. Happy to learn that it's legit. And Doug, love the show. He says, by far the best. Why do people watch it if they don't like it? Never understood that. Because, Doug, anger is addictive. Some people like to get upset about stuff. It's the most exercise they get all day.